In this video, I'm going to be going over absolutely everything we know about LEGO Star Wars in 2027 so far. As many of you guys know, there has been a lot of information coming out recently, and it's been kind of hectic because there's so much to keep up with. So that's why I'm making this video, to just recap everything that we know so far, and there is a lot. I have a total of 22 sets to go over, along with other information like printed movie tile posters, along with concept art anniversary minifigures, and much more. I'm just going to go in order of release, starting in January, but before I get to the actual sets, there is just some general info I have to go over first. The first thing being the anniversary figures. Since 2027 is the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, LEGO is going to be releasing anniversary figures like they did in 2024 as well as 2019, except this time the anniversary figures are going to be based off of Star Wars concept art designs. And as of right now, there are 7 of them, that being Han Solo with the lightsaber, Chewbacca, Luke Starkiller, a female version of Luke Skywalker, yeah, I'll talk about that here more in a minute, R2-D2, C-3PO, and Darth Vader. All 7 of these figures are going to be spread throughout different sets next year, and as I go throughout the list of sets, obviously I'll mention if they contain one of these anniversary figures or not. The next thing I need to go over before we get to the actual list of sets are the movie posters. We are going to be getting Star Wars movie posters printed on 6x8 tiles, and similar to the anniversary figures, they're going to be spread throughout different sets next year. However, the difference is that these are only going to be in 18+ display sets, unlike the anniversary figures, which are going to be in the 18+ sets as well as normal play sets. And as of now, it is confirmed that we are getting posters of episodes 1 through 9 along with Rogue One. And as for movies like the Clone Wars, Solo, Mandalorian, and Grogu, as well as the new Starfighter movie coming out next year, it is currently unknown if we will also get posters for these 4 movies. And just like the anniversary figures, as I go throughout the list of sets, I will mention if the set contains one of these posters or not. But now that we got all of that out of the way, moving on to the actual list, starting off in January, there are 9 sets releasing, and the first one is 75463, an X-Wing Microfighter, for a retail price of $15, and as of now, we do not know the piece count. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. I mean, I hope the Luke Skywalker pilot minifigure looks good, preferably as high quality as the one that came in the UCS X-Wing from 2023, and then on top of that, I also hope that they redesigned the build of the X-Wing Microfighter. I personally really like Microfighters, but the X-Wings have never really done it for me. I think they're a little too bulky, and people have made some X-Wing Microfighter mocks that are definitely a lot cleaner and sleeker looking, and I hope the build looks closer to these rather than the old design. The next set is 75464, Anakin's Jedi Starfighter, for a retail price of $30, and as of now we don't know the piece count, and it's going to have a new Clone Wars Anakin along with R2-D2. I've seen a lot of people complaining about that minifigure lineup, saying that it should have a third minifigure, and you know, considering the 2022 Obi-Wan Jedi Starfighter having the Camino win at a price of $30, I definitely think this one could also include a third minifigure, preferably a cool unique one like that Camino win, maybe a new Phase 1 Captain Rex or Phase 1 Commander Cody, something like that. But also at the same time, the original Anakin's Jedi Starfighter from 2008 only had 2 minifigures, that being Anakin and R2-D2, and its price adjusted for inflation is actually about $30 in today's money. So for me personally, it's like, yeah, a third figure would be really nice, and that's probably what it should have, but I'm also not upset with only getting 2. As for the build goes, I mean, I expect it to be high quality. LEGO usually does a good job on their Jedi Starfighters. The one from 2022 definitely was a bit bulky, and I hope this new one is kind of cleaned up a little bit more, but other than that, I think it'll look pretty good. The next one is 75466 Darth Vader Art for a retail price of $60, and we also don't know the piece count yet, and this one is going to include an episode 5 poster printed on a 6x8 tile. But as for the set goes, I'm honestly not entirely sure what this is going to be. Based on the description, it just sounds like one of those mural sets like the one that came out a few years ago. I think it was like 2021 or 2020, something like that. And I mean, if it's like that, where it's like all the studs and everything, I don't think many people are going to be interested in this. But if it's brick built similar to the Star Wars logo, I think it'll be fairly popular. Either way, as of now, we just don't really know much about it. It's just a Darth Vader art, apparently. The next one is a really exciting one. It's going to be 75470 Mustafar Duel, being ages 9+, with 372 pieces and a retail price of $40, including obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, along with a concept art anniversary minifigure of Han Solo, specifically the version right here where he has the lightsaber, so I think this one will look pretty cool. As for the set goes, the description of it is that it's going to be a hybrid play/display set, and the reason it says that is because, like all of the diorama sets, it's supposed to include a printed quote on a tile that says you are the chosen one. But the thing is, if you look at the age rating being 9+ instead of 18+, this is not going to be a diorama set. So I guess that's why they're describing it as a hybrid play/display set, and because of that, I'm honestly also really curious to see what it's going to look like. Since it's technically not a diorama, I doubt it's going to have the black black border around it, and since it most likely won't have the black border, I'm curious to see where this printed quote is gonna go on the build. And also, the thing is $40 for less than 400 pieces, so it's probably gonna be fairly small too, most likely the same size as the one from 2020, but hopefully a lot better looking than that one. I think it's kind of ugly. Again though, this one is exciting. I know it's not all the way what we want. I mean, most people want a giant Mustafar duel set like this one right here that I'm showing on screen, but getting a smaller one for $40 is better than nothing. Now, that Mustafar duel set definitely sounds very exciting, but this next one honestly sounds pretty concerning. It's going to be 75476, an indoor battle pack for $30 US. And because of that price point, you'd think it's a super battle pack, but no, it's not. It's going to only have 4 figures, that being 2 Rebel Commandos, along with a Stormtrooper and a Scout Trooper. And that's why I say it's concerning, because based on the description, it seems like it's going to be a standard battle pack for $30. LEGO making a $7 jump in battle packs from $23 to $30 in just 1 year sounds insane, but to be honest, it's LEGO, so I wouldn't even put that past them. The key thing though is that as of now, the piece count is unknown, and because of that price point, there is a chance that the build could just simply be pretty large and have, you know, 200 to 250, maybe 300 pieces and not be a standard small battle pack build. And if that's the case, I think this set will be fine if it's like a large tree build or something and, you know, more of a play set instead of a battle pack. But if that's not the case and it's actually a standard battle pack with 4 figures and a tiny build for $30 US, that's gonna be pretty bad. Moving on though, on a more positive note, the next one actually should be pretty good, that being 75478, a new Y-Wing Starfighter with 676 pieces and a retail price of $80 US, including Dutch Vander, a new Mon Mothma minifigure, the first one since 2009, an astromech droid, and a concept art Luke Starkiller minifigure, which definitely should be pretty cool. It's this design of him right here, where he's got the long blonde hair and the face mask and everything. I think this will be a pretty awesome figure. Speaking of the figures though, for $80, honestly doesn't sound that great, but at least the figures we are getting are really exciting, that being a new Mon Mothma, and then of course the Luke Starkiller. Although I do have to say, for $80, a 5th minifigure would be nice, especially considering the fact that the 2016 Y-Wing, adjusted for inflation, is $80 in today's money, and that set had 5 minifigures, so you know it would be nice if this one did too, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, as for the actual build goes, I think it will be close to the same size as that 2016 model, and the reason is because they have about exactly the same piece count. The 2016 one had 691 pieces, and this one is going to have 676. However, that 2016 one also included that little cart build, and we're not sure if this one's going to include a cart build or not. So considering that, the Y-Wings are basically going to have the same piece count. Obviously, this new one is going to be a little bit smaller just because of how LEGO designs their builds nowadays. They use smaller pieces and they're more compact, but I don't think it's going to be a dramatic downsize like we saw with other sets like the Turbo Tank or the MTT. It will most likely be close to the same size, and it will most likely use that same cockpit windshield piece, which of course would mean that it would need to be close to the same size in order to get the proportions accurate. The next set is going to be 75480 Bespin Duel with 718 pieces and a retail price of $80 US, obviously including Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and then on top of that, a concept art Darth Vader. The one right here where he's got this crazy looking helmet, that's definitely going to be interesting to see in minifigure form. Now, as for the actual build goes, because of that piece count being 718 pieces, I think it has to include both the carbon freezing chamber scene of the fight and of course the part of the fight where they go out over the bridge, because if it's just the part where they go out over the bridge, that seems like a very high piece count, especially considering the fact that the one from 2020 only had 295 pieces. I mean, there's just no way they could add 400 extra pieces and it still just be this scene of the fight. I mean, again, due to that piece count, in my head, it just has to include both areas. There's no way it doesn't. Moving on though, the next one is going to be 75482, an upscaled Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot minifigure. So basically just the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot version of the Darth Vader that released this year, including 981 pieces and a retail price of $100. And it's also going to include the concept art female Luke Skywalker minifigure that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And before making this video, I didn't even know this was a thing, but apparently in early concepts of A New Hope, Luke Skywalker at some point was planned to be a female character, and I'm pretty sure that's what this picture of him right here is supposed to be. He was a female with like kind of short blonde hair, and in this upscale scale Luke Skywalker minifigure set, we're gonna get this as an anniversary figure. Now, aside from that, the set itself is not very intriguing to me at least. I'm not a big fan of the Darth Vader that released this year. In my eyes, it's just more buildable character slop, and this new Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot is pretty much gonna be the exact same. But hey, it is still cool that we are getting that concept art anniversary minifigure. Lastly, for January, we have a set that I personally think is kind of unnecessary, that being 75495, a concept art Stormtrooper helmet. So basically a helmet set of the concept art Stormtrooper design. It's not going to be an anniversary figure, it's going to be a helmet set. And it's also the set that's going to include the Rogue One poster printed on a tile. But yeah, the reason I think this one is kind of unnecessary is because it's just like, why wouldn't they make the concept art Stormtrooper an extra anniversary figure instead of into a helmet set of all things? It just seems kind of random to me. I mean, I think it'll look good, like the helmet looks cool, but I'm just not sure how many people are going to be interested in this. And I also think that's the reason they're putting the Rogue One poster in this set, because that's going to drive up sales for what otherwise probably wouldn't be a very popular set. Moving on to April 1st, as of now we know of 7 sets that are releasing, and the first 3 of them are actually 3 unknown sets from the new Star Wars Starfighter movie releasing next May. And as you can see, all we know are the set numbers and the age ratings. As for what these sets actually are, I mean, obviously nobody knows. The movie hasn't come out yet. We haven't even seen a trailer for the movie yet. So these 3 unknown sets quite literally could be anything. The next one is 75467, a brick-built episode 4 poster, and as of now we don't know the price point or the piece count, but it's basically going to be an art set of this poster right here. And just like the Darth Vader art set I talked about earlier, I'm not sure if this is going to be brick-built or if it's going to be one of those murals created out of studs. Based on the detail of this poster, especially the X-Wings in the background, I honestly have no idea how they can make this brick-built. I mean, it just has to be one of those stud sets. There's just no way it's not, but of course we're just gonna have to wait and see. Oh, and this one is also including an episode 4 poster printed on a tile. So yes, we're getting an episode 4 poster tile along with a brick-built episode 4 poster as the set, in the same set, if that makes sense. Next up for April is a set that everyone is talking about right now. It's set number 75468, and right now it's called George Lucas Tribute, and as of right now we do not know the piece count or the price point, but it's basically going to be a diorama style set of this behind the scenes image right here, and it's going to include a young George Lucas minifigure, a cameraman, a boom mic operator, which is most likely going to be this guy right here in the pink shorts, and then Luke Skywalker, Ben Kenobi, C-3PO, and R2-D2. It will also include an episode 6 poster printed on a 6x8 tile, and since the set is supposed to be a behind the scenes diorama of A New Hope, the Sandspeeder build is actually going to have wheels and mirrors underneath it, because if you don't know, that's how they got the effect to make it look like it was actually floating. They've literally just put mirrors underneath it, and in this Lego set, that's what the build is going to look like. Other than that though, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this set. I do think the idea is really cool. I've seen a lot of people saying they don't like it because they would just rather have a play set, but honestly, a behind the scenes diorama just sounds really fire to me, and I'm very excited to see what this set is going to look like. Next up is another interesting one. It's another kind of IRL real world Star Wars set, that being 75469, a Star Wars movie theater with a price of $200, and as of now we don't know the piece count. It's going to include 2 theater workers, 3 cosplayers dressed up as C-3PO, a stormtrooper, and a Jedi, and then 4 other Star Wars fans. And this set is also going to include an episode 4 poster printed on a 6x8 tile. So yes, this poster will come in 2 sets, that being the New Hope poster set along with this one. But basically this is just going to be a giant playset theater that's supposed to be the premiere of Star Wars, and it's going to have a bunch of fans and theater workers and whatnot. It's also apparently going to have a feature where the movie posters are going to be on the outside of the build like they are at real movie theaters, and you're going to be able to switch them out with the other 6x8 tile posters from the other sets, which in my opinion is honestly a really cool play feature. Another thing to note is that this set is also not going to be a modular, it's just going to be a large playset. So in my head, I guess the style of playset to compare it to is the Yavin 4 from 2023. Obviously not the Yavin 4, it'll be a theater building, but that's kind of the style. I imagine it'll have like a detailed front section, and then the back of it will be the interior that you can access. But yeah, like the behind the scenes diorama set, this is another one that I'm honestly pretty excited for. I don't think it's a set that's necessarily on anyone's wish list, but I just think the concept and idea for it is really cool. The next one is 75477, a Star Wars minifigure vignette for $70 US. People are also referring to this as the Icons of Star Wars set that you might have already heard of. Hopefully it's not too confusing. Basically both of these are the same set. They're referring to the same thing. And it's going to include Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, and then a concept art C-3PO, which I'm really excited to see how they do that head mold. I think it looks pretty cool. But regarding what the actual build is, different people are saying different things, but from my understanding, it's just going to be like some type of display diorama backdrop thing for the 4 minifigures in the set. set, and in the background of the backdrop, there's going to be like micro starfighters flying out of it, that being an X-Wing and a Millennium Falcon. So basically the build is just some type of backdrop display for the 4 minifigures, and that's really all there is to know about it. Lastly, for April is a pretty exciting one. It's going to be set number 75494, a new Cloud City playset. It's going to be ages 9 and up, and like many other sets on this list, as of now, we do not know the price point or the piece count. It's going to include Princess Leia, Han Solo, Boba Fett, Lando Calrissian, Darth Vader, and a concept art R2-D2 minifigure. And apparently it's also going to include a new mold for Han Solo frozen in carbonite. And to clear up any confusion, this set and the Bespin Duel set releasing in January are 2 separate sets. They're not the same thing. And as of right now, it's unknown if they're going to connect to each other. I really hope they do, and honestly, I think they will. It just wouldn't make sense if they don't connect. But again, as of now, we don't know. Regarding this set though, based on the minifigure lineup, I think it's safe to assume it's going to be a pretty large set. I'd imagine at least $120 maybe. And since it's got a new Han Solo frozen in carbonite, I think it's safe to assume it's obviously going to include the carbon freezing chamber, but I imagine it might also have other areas as well, like the meeting room along with the landing pad, and basically every other area besides the Bespin Duel, because that's going to be its own separate set. Again, assuming that these two are going to connect to each other. Moving on to May 1st, as of now we only know of one set, and that's actually the May 1st UCS set, and it's actually a set that I predicted would release in 2027 over 2 years ago, but that being 75475, a UCS Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, for a retail price of $240, and it's going to include an episode 2 poster printed on a 6x8 tile. But yeah, not to glaze myself too much, but I did predict that this would happen. Back in 2024, I made a video going over what I thought would be the next UCS set for like the next 10 years or something, and for May of 2027, I predicted that we'd get a new UCS TIE Advance for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, and well, it looks like it's confirmed that that's actually happening now. Moving on to June 1st, just like May, we also only know of one set releasing this month, and it's going to be 75465, a MIDI-scale Death Star 2, for a retail price of $70 US, and it's going to be including an episode 3 poster printed on a 6x8 tile. I've talked about this set a lot recently in recent videos, so I don't really have much to say about it here, but just to keep it short, I mean, I think this is probably going to end up being one of the most popular MIDI-scale sets, just because so many people want a Death Star and they don't want to pay outrageous prices for one. And I feel like on top of that, it's also just a no-brainer option. They made the Millennium Falcon, they made the Super Star Destroyer, they haven't made a normal Star Destroyer yet, but still it makes sense for them to make the Death Star. I think this was bound to happen at some point. Next up, we have 4 sets that currently do not have confirmed release dates, and just a heads up, 3 of them are Smart Brick sets, so most of you guys probably won't care about them. I don't care about them either. But one of them isn't a Smart Brick set, and it's going to be 75474, a buildable Yoda, with 1,200 pieces and a retail price of $150, including a Yoda minifigure as well as a concept art Chewbacca. And to be honest, out of all the anniversary figures, this one might be the most interesting. That head mold is gonna be crazy. Regardless though, as many of you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of buildable characters just because LEGO releases so many of them, but as of now, this one is actually one of the few rumored for next year, so that's definitely a good sign. It seems like in 2026, we're not going to be getting as many buildable characters as we have in recent years. On top of that, it's also supposed to be the episode 5 version of Yoda, like the original UCS one from 2002. It's not going to be a prequel one like the one from 2019, which is actually something I'm definitely pleased to see. I really like that 2002 model, and I really want to see an updated modern version of it. And honestly, if it's the same size as that 2002 model, 150 doesn't sound that bad. And again, it's going to have that anniversary Chewbacca. Next up though, we have 3 Smart Brick sets, and I'm just going to list these off. I'm not going to talk about them because nobody really cares about them. If I had to guess, they're probably going to release in March, just like the ones from this year did. But again, I mean, who really cares? It's going to be an Ewok Attack for $30, a Hoth Echo Base for $140, which is honestly kind of disappointing because I would love a new Plisco Hoth Echo Base, and it looks like we're getting one, but it's going to be a Smart Brick set, so that really sucks. And the last one is a buildable R2-D2. Again, 3 new Smart Brick sets, who really cares about them? Anyways though, moving on, lastly, of course I gotta talk about the 2 sets that are on everyone's mind right now, that being the Bounty Hunter Pursuit remake and the Ewok Village. For about 6 months now, these 2 sets have been rumored for 2027. The Bounty Hunter Pursuit is supposed to cost $60, and the Ewok Village is supposed to cost $150. We found out about both of these sets back in January of this year, 2026, and we haven't heard anything new about them since. So because of that, a lot of people are concerned that they might not end up releasing. And my response to that is that these 2 leaks didn't just come from nowhere. BrickTap were the ones that originally put these 2 leaks out, and they are arguably the most reputable leakers in the community. So basically that means that these 2 sets existed in some capacity at some point. They were definitely in development at some point, and maybe still are, who knows. But again, again, considering that Bricktap were the people that originally put these out, they didn't just come from nowhere. These two sets exist in some way. If they do actually end up releasing next year, I imagine it'll be late summer, probably August, or there's a chance that LEGO simply just canceled them. They existed in the development and design phase and they didn't make it any further. This is not uncommon at all. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know there are loads of unreleased sets like the UTAT or the UCS Vulture Droid, or that one picture that shows the entire wall of unreleased LEGO Star Wars sets that never made it past development. It's definitely very common for LEGO to start working on sets and then end up not releasing them and canceling them. I really hope that's not the case with these two sets. Obviously, I still want them to release. Everyone wants them to release. But the reason I'm saying all of that is because these two sets weren't fake rumors or fake leaks or fake news or anything like that. They existed or still exist in some capacity. They're either releasing sometime next year, most likely in the summer, or they simply just didn't make it past the development phase and got canceled. And again, hopefully that is not the case. Anyways though guys, that is everything, absolutely everything we know about LEGO Star Wars in 2027. It's a lot of information, and the crazy thing is that's just the first half of the year. As you notice, we only went up to June. We don't know anything about August or July or September or anything like that of the latter half of the year. We only know the first half, and there's already 22 sets. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think about these sets down in the comments below. If you are new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see the link on the screen right now.